backdoor story of Julius Pierre Byam, Royalbaybee's uncle. So Royalbaybee went to Instagram and told people that he believes he's being blackballed. He gave us reasons why he thinks this is happening. He shared a story of his uncle, part of the rap group Do or Die from back in the day that was really big. They had this song on the Billboard called Poor Pimpin', and they were bringing in the numbers at the time. His uncle was signed to this label, Rap A Lot Records, that he wanted to get out of. He gave us the story, said that his uncle was backdoored. This is part of Chicago history. The people who did it have been hiding for over 30 years, and most of the hits his uncle created. He said the deal that his uncle was in, he managed to buy himself out of the contract. Then all of a sudden he ended up getting killed. His uncle wanted to start his own record label at the time. He was the one that was bringing in all the hits, so he even added his so-called best friend, person that his uncle was with at the time, exposing him, telling people he backdoored him, and he said that the backdoor stuff runs and started back in the day. Unfortunately, he said a little bit of my Chicago history to show y'all I'm blackballed from back in the day, and also Chicago history. My uncle also provided for my family and raised us like his own. He was my grandmother's oldest boy, and he was about to change our lives forever, but we still in the hood. So back in 1996, when I was 5 years old, the Do or Die rap group was created, which was my uncle Julius Pierre Byam, one of the original 3 members of the Do or Die trio, and he was also the songwriter of At Bellof Do Die at Twister GMG, aka Do or Die, also at J Prince Respect. All were involved in my uncle's untimely demise when my uncle bought himself out of his contract with Rap A Lot Records. After dropping all of the Do or Die original first hit records, he set off to start his own record label. Hear what he's saying happened, right? His uncle had all these hits that he created. He wanted out of the contract, and by reading this, he sounds like he wanted out of the contract for a very long time and they wasn't giving him a break. Then he finally bought himself out of the contract, and what happened? They backdoored him. He ended up being backdoored. Royalbaybee even said this is a part of Chicago history, the backdoor stuff. This happened in 1997, and he is saying that 100% it was a backdoor. I mean, you could imagine how the money was coming in back then. He probably felt like, well, if they can't have him to do and make these hits for them, no one else can't have him, do or die type thing. Just like the records, just like the label. To kill him, they had to take him out because there was no way that they would have let him go off and start his own music label and his own label, right, where he could have made all this money. Let's continue reading. He goes on to say, well, unfortunately for my uncle, he was shot and killed while he was with his supposed to be best friend at Brian.Tay.58 on 69th and Western in 1997. He backdoor UNC. My uncle was also robbed of all his music and money during the time of their hit album, Poor Pimpin' Hits record. They also never spoke on J Plus ever again. But there ain't no my uncle left. Real smokers out here, and we come from a bloodline of killers. We doing this shit the right way. Don't let the internet trick y'all. This Chicago is born. The backdoor started back in the day. Unfortunately for me is my future, he said, and I gotta change it. All his killers been hiding out of town, and if they're not, they've been hiding for over 30 years. So trying to break a generational curse. My uncle was supposed to got rich with Jay-Z and them, and you can't find a song from him on the internet. But we know this because we family. My mama and my family still hurting from this, and I want smoke behind it. This pain run deep. It f***ed up the peace of my life, and no guidance, just struggling. Mother trying to raise 5 kids and take care of her niece and nephews while dealing with the death of her oldest brother and grandmother. And did you know my great-granddaughter was forced to be with a white woman who was her slave owner's family? So I really have no history in this world unless we count daddies, and y'all know how that goes. That's what he said about his uncle that was part of this rap group, right? They robbed him, stole all his music around the time of this hit record. Then he wanted to leave and start his own record label. They ended up taking him out and killing him, and he said he believed that it was a backdoor. this all started back in the days. Also, Johnny P, who was a member of the group as well, he died in 2016. On the internet, it says the cause of death is unknown. And you also heard Royalbaybee said, look on the internet right now, you can't find no music with his uncle was supposed to got rich with Jay-Z and them. Made me think of something. The other day, FBG Duck Mom was on live and she was going off at FBG Young, that whole situation they have going on. And she said that FBG Duck said to her 6 days before he died, he wanted out of the contract, get him out of the contract, and it's up. She said he had a meeting 6 days before, ended up dying. So I know 100%, it just gives me a feeling that I feel like the label smoked FBG Duck from the start, and I had this feeling because I wasn't buying when people were going around and saying, oh, Van and all this and Little Duck and all of that and Ops and all this stuff. I wasn't buying it because we already know the game. We already know the Ops claim everything, and that's what they was doing for clout, and Van was lying and all that stuff, and all of it was created, and that's how these people managed to slip behind the rug now, managed to slip behind it and slip behind all the drama that was going on with Van and them, you know, and making people believe. And still to this day, some people believe that Van actually took out FBG Duck, and no, that wasn't the case. FBG Duck Mom said even though she cleared up the backdoor rumors when it comes to FBG Cash and stuff like that, she still feels like the truth is going to come out. After he had this meeting, he ended up dying. That can't be a coincidence because he wanted out of his contract. FBG Duck Mom said he wanted out of his contract 6 days before that. He said to her, get me out of this contract and it's up. What was he talking about? Doesn't it bring you all the way back to 1997, the story where Royalbaybee is saying that his uncle wanted out of the contract and he was about to get them rich, right? He was about to start his own label, then he ended up getting killed. They stole all his music and all of it, and now when you look up online, you can't even find his music. Make that make sense. This is all coming from Chicago, all come from the same place. It is all a system that's set up behind the scenes where they actually do this, and this is sort of a pattern. These artists sign a contract, then they do all these numbers, then they realize it don't benefit them. They want to get out of the contract, but the labels see it different because the labels look at the money that they are making currently and they decide to take them out because they know it would just bring in more revenue. And that's what happened in Royalbabee's uncle situation. That just basically tells you that the label did it. The label did it. They took all his music, they took everything, and then when they found that he was going to create his own label, they couldn't have let him make all that money for himself. They had to have taken him out.